Lubega Yusuf, Waswa Hussein, Salim Muzamiru, Nakandi Hajara, Chewolwa Abubakar, Kisalita Mahad, Kato Hassan Miro, Bukenya Ismail, and Buvumbo Musa Abbas, and others still at large on the 7th day of February 2018, at Lunguja in Kampala district. You kidnapped Susan Magara with the intent to procure ransom for the benefit of her liberation from danger of being murdered. A1, how do you plead? A2,
not guilty.
A3, I don't admit. Not, it's different from not guilty. Okay? It is not true. It's because I don't admit. Okay. PNG entered. A4.
Nakandi hajalo samkilizo wogana.
A5.
Chewora abube from samkilizo wogana.
A6.
Asali tamahadi samkilizo wogana.
PNG entered. A7.
Kato Hassani samkilizo wogana.
A8.
Kenya Ismail samkilizo wogana.
A9.
Samkilizo wogana.
Of murder contrary to section 188 and 189 of the Penal Code Act, Cap 120, where it is said that you, Lubega Yusuf, Waswa Hussein, Salim Muzamiru, Nakandi Hajara, Chewolwa Abubakar, Kisalita Mahad, Kato Hassan Miro, Bukenya Ismail, and Buvumbo Musa Abbas, and others sit at large on the 27th day of February 2018 at Kongi in Kampala district with malice aforethought you killed Susan Magara.
Kigambibwa nti imwe Lubega Yusufu, Waswa Hussein, Salim Muzamiru, Nakandi Hajara, Chewora Abubeka, Kasalita Mahadi, Kato Hassani, Bukenya Ismail ne Buvumbo Ibra katika ennaku z'omwezi 27 omwezi gw'okubiri mwaka gwa 2018 kyali ekyekonge ekisangibwa mu disitulikiti y'e Kampala nga mwatta omuntu eyayitibwa Susan Magara.
A1, how do you plead?
Nga Lubega Yusuf omusango ogwo gukkiriza oba okugaana.
PNG entered. A2.
Waswa Hassan omusango ogwo gukkiriza oba okugaana.
A3.
Salim Muzamiru omusango ogukkiriza oba okugaana.
A4.
Nakandi Hajara omusango ogukkiriza oba okugaana.
A5.
Chewora Abubeka omusango ogukkiriza oba okugaana.
A6.
Asali Tamahadi omusango ogukkiriza oba okugaana.
A7.
Kato Hassan omusango ogukkiriza oba okugaana.
And Abbas.
I, Muhindo Mukururu Yusuf,
affirm that the evidence I shall give concerning the matter now before court.
Solemnly affirm that the matter,
That the evidence I shall give
that the evidence that I shall give
concerning the matter now before court
concerning the matter now before court
shall be the truth,
shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
So help me Allah.
So help me Allah. I am an assistant editor of the Hansard, senior assistant editor of the Hansard, Parliament of Uganda. I stay in Chambogo, Nakawa Division.
You know why you are in court today?
Yes, I know why. Yes, I know.
Please tell me why.
I was called to come and testify as a witness in this case. Yes, we talked on phone. Physically, Susan Magara, the late Susan Magara. I was introduced to her by my cousin who worked with her as a friend. I was in office and my cousin calls me that Yusuf, I have a boss. My boss is a good person. If he were not married, he would marry her. So we joke a lot about it. We joke about so many things. So I tell her, but you're not married. How do you begin saying those things? Says, but okay, you should have married this one. So I tell her that, but you're now married and I'm not someone who can marry a second person. Then we laughed over it and she says, but you can be friends. Okay, so that's how I get introduced to Susan Magara. She was introduced to me early December. That was early December. Which particular date? The delegation of Parliament to facilitate IPU. IPU is Inter-Parliamentary Union. So I was part of that delegation, so we're doing the paperwork. Now, in the course that is the whole day, morning hours, so Susan and I used to talk during that time. So she called me. I told her I'm busy. I'm doing some kind of work here and it's very urgent because we were supposed to go to the embassy. So I tell her we shall talk later when I'm done with work. Parliament. So I was organizing for the members who were traveling, but I was part of the delegation. We failed to talk for long during the day, and at around 2, I earlier said that I'm a senior assistant editor of the Hansard. It means I work when Parliament is sitting, I get engaged. I can't even receive a phone call. So I sit behind the speaker in the chamber. So because I sit in the chamber, I can't receive a phone call. We didn't complete around between 7:30, around 8. So I call Susan to complete our earlier conversation that we had had during the day. So I go to the parking lot to go and start my car and move. Then I tell her that let me call when I get out because I had parked in the basement. You can't navigate the corners very well on phone. So when I get out of Parliament Gate, I call her again. So we began talking on phone. I was using earphones. Then Susan tells me also that she was from the gym. So we continued talking as we were all driving. She was driving, I was driving. When I reached Chambogo, the road going to the former First Technology down, I think now is where they pick passports from. Because there was too much traffic jam between that point to Banda, so I take that detour, that kind of shortcut to head where I stay, through the university. So when I reach, we were still talking on phone by the meanwhile from town, up that time I'm still on phone. So when I reach the Chambogo gate, the west gate, the police officers who are checking the car, because when you enter Chambogo, they check you through the university. I heard Susan scream in the car. I heard Susan scream. And she says, don't beat me, temunkuba. Then a man, a gentleman, says in English, do you want to scream? And another one says, beat her. They were like two different voices. So she says, I will not scream, please don't beat me. So meanwhile, her phone was on and mine was on because I was hearing that scuffle. The police officers who were checking me didn't know what was going on. Actually, there were security guards. These are what is it called, the PAL security, not police officers. Yeah, not police officers. So I was confused. I didn't know what to do from that state because I was hearing something happening in the car. I thought they were thieves. Then after 40 seconds to 1 minute, the phone was switched off. Her phone went off. The call was dropped. So I was trembling. I didn't know what to do. I called 99 police. Yes. And no one was picking the phone. I called again. No one was picking the phone. Then I remember that my cousin used to stay around those areas. So I called her and her phone was off. So now then again something comes to my mind. I call a friend of mine I was with in my class at UMI called Jonathan. Yes, he's a police officer. I tell him what had happened. So and he says he's asked me what he wants us to do. I tell him, do whatever you have to do, but something has just happened. So he asked me, where has it happened? I tell him I don't know, but what I remember that Susan was driving back home. And in our earlier conversations before that incident, she told me she stays around the Mengo area, those areas. So I tell this police officer, Jonathan, that Susan was driving home. So in my mind, I knew her home was around Mengo. So that's how Jonathan advised that one is under Old Kampala police station. That's how Jonathan advises me that area should be under Old Kampala jurisdiction, Old Kampala police station. So Jonathan said that let him call the DPC or the areas, the police officers within that area. Then he also gives me another number. As he was calling, I was calling as well. And the phones, mine, the one he gave me didn't go through. Then he gives me another number of the DPC of Kawempe. Then that one I call, it goes through. That she was a lady who called, I don't remember the name. So I narrate what has just happened, and she begins also her, I don't know what she did, but she hangs up and then they begin the coordination. In that very moment, I call my cousin again. Her phone was on. So I tell her what has just happened, and my intention of calling her I thought she knew where Susan stayed. So that maybe she can go and check whether she's okay. Now, in that, so after me calling my cousin now calls the family, someone in the family. I don't know the person she called. Then now there, I had parked at Chambogo, the roundabout of near the center of Chambogo University. The roundabout of Chambogo, because that scuffle happened in between University Gate and Senate building of Chambogo University. All those phone calls, I'm driving and I'm calling, I don't know what to do. Let me see, I left Parliament around 7:30, 7:40, should be around 7:50, around towards 8 p.m. So I turned, because calls were going on. It should be between 8:40, 8:50, I can't, I mean 7:40, 7:50, I can't be certain of the time. I'm just estimating because, yes, because I'm seeing the time Parliament at Jan and the distance from there to Chambogo and back. So but was before, it must be, it was before 8. So because my cousin had called the family and I was at Chambogo, I didn't know what to do. My home, I turned my vehicle heading to town. Now, my reason for turning is that I thought I would find a 99 patrol car on the road. I passed Nakawa, New Vision. So because there is a patrol car that parks at Ginger Road traffic lights. In that moment, I realized that there is a police station opposite the Ginger Road police station. So I make a U-turn in the middle of the road. Towards that junction, there's when you're coming from UMI, this main gate, there is where you turn as if you're going back to Ginger Road. So that I can access Ginger Road police station. I was coming from Chambo. Now, when I reached there, I found a gentleman seated on the bonnet of the car, and some lady. They were just conversing. So I tell them what has happened. The gentleman, yes please. I didn't know they were in civilian. I just found there are people at police. I later got to know that the gentleman is called Enoch and a police officer. Later. So I tell him what has happened, and he says, let us call the number. We use my phone to call Susan's phone, and it was on, but no one was speaking. We called it several times. Then Enoch advises that he knows a tracker in CMY. I mean, I don't know, but a tracker in the security forces. So he calls him. The gentleman says he was far and had left his tracking gadget in the office. So he calls another one, and he gives him the phone number, Susan's phone. And the man said, let me see what I can do. Then the DPC of Kawempe, who picked earlier the lady, calls us again, and we tell her that we are at Ginger Road Police Station. So while we were there, time passed around 30 to 40 minutes while we were there. We called Susan's number again, and someone picks. Introduced himself as Dennis, working for the company. When they wrote there, the company where Susan used to work. By the name, I think it's called the Wende. Yes. Yeah, yes. So now, how Dennis, my sister, the cousin, had called Dennis. So I think Dennis rushed to Susan's place. So now, that's where Dennis tells us that Susan's car is here, the phone is here, but she's not around. He directs us, me and Enoch now, the officer I found at Ginger Road. He was talking to Dennis now to tell us where they are. And for me, I was driving. That should be between, okay. Dennis tells us they are in Lunguja, going to Lunguja. Dennis directing us where to go. Dennis giving us directions. Then in the meantime, Enoch, when we passed Cham Towers around that area, Enoch receives a phone call from the colleague, a second trucker, who told Enoch that we see this phone is active in this area, the same area of Lunguja. While I'm driving terribly, by the way, we near overturn, and Enoch was saying, Yusuf, slow down, we are going to overturn. We got lost, then after we later arrived, Enoch calls a friend of his, a police officer staying within the same area. Arrived where the car had been parked. Susan's car, it was a RAV4, blue in color. No, I don't know the place. But it's RAV, I know it's blue. RAV4 short, the short RAV4, not the other wrong one. Then Enoch's friend, I say that he calls a friend who stays within an area. Police know how they coordinate. The gentleman came, I think he's called Musa or Juma, one of the two names. He was limping, he had a sprain in his leg, I think he was jogging, he couldn't. Was a police officer, yes. Now when he reached the Musa or Juma, one of the two names, I'm not sure. When then Juma or Musa finds us at the scene. Enoch and Musa, being police officers, I know. I think the name is either Juma or Musa. I'm not sure, but he's tall, dark. I want to know he was limping. No, very sure. The person is called Juma. He's a police officer. He's around. Yes. He was limping. I know vividly. The picture is coming. He was putting on a short. In shorts, and so they touch the car. They begin, because they are police, by instinct, and they say this car has been off for some time. They peeped inside the car. There were clothes, ladies' clothes, and the car was well packed, as if to give way for other cars to pass. Oh yes, there was Dennis, gentleman who received the phone call. And then shortly after, another gentleman, I think from the family, Mr. Silva. I don't remember his second name. So these people, the Enoch and Juma, say this car has been here for some time, as well packed, as if someone properly parked the car. Not captured there, I think. I'll just peruse by them. The name is called Juma, and then something else. Some family members had arrived at the scene when we reached. I was taking a boat to Dennis alone. There were other family members who had reached there at the scene. Dennis. Yes. So, it was at night. That's around 10 now, 10:30, around that time. Then the police patrol car, the first police patrol car comes with police officers. I don't remember how many soldiers, how many police officers. My cousin had also arrived, and we stayed there for some time. Then Kawempe also, other officers also came, another patrol car also came. At around 11 towards midnight, the police officers agree among themselves that we go to Old Kampa police station. And when we reached there, I was driving my car meanwhile. When you reach Old Kampala, I make a statement in the night around 2 a.m. and then I'm left to go home. And that's what happened on that fateful day. That first night, no. The following day now. I reached home towards 3. I was asked events of that day, otherwise I would have gone on. So I reached home at around 6 a.m.
I want to confirm this code. One, do you confirm this code that you don't want to suspect? No, I don't. It's also true that you never identified the voices that you had at the background as a How are we going to identify them from? How? I'm asking you, you never. Is it true that you never identified the voices? See, resistance there. Okay. You want to what was the nature of your relationship with Susan? We were friends, casual friends. You told me spoke was it a friend who introduced you to Susan? My cousin. What's the name of this cousin? She's called Kabuo. Sorry. Kabuo Spolia. Spolia. Kabuo. Kabuo. K-A-B-U-G-H-O. Kabuo. Did you meet that season? Sorry? Did you meet that season?
I met her once for around 5 days. I was joining out of class, going for, I was the chairperson of my friend's wedding meeting.
Did you ever meet her?
We had never sat or spoke and talked. I was yes. One time they wanted to surprise me. That's around January. January. So after my class, my master's class at UMI, I was driving out of the heading to Java House around town. My sister then called me and says, I'm here, I want to see you. So that gate of UMI getting out, I see that car now. That first time I see Susan's car.
Was it your cousin who told you it was
My cousin. Cousin, not a sister, cousin.
And you're saying the name of the cousin is called Kabuo.
So I tell her I'm getting out, I'm late for the meeting. So me getting out, then Scopia telling me I'm here in the car. So we exchange. I say, we have come to see you, but I say, you with who? So that's why I said, this is Susan. Susan was in the driver's seat instead of the car. And then for the other side. That's the only time I saw Susan, and I went. Susan was in the car, was in the driver's seat. Scovia the other side of the car. There they were going. Can I make it more clear? They were going for Rotary in Bugolobi. See, Susan is driving. I'm driving. Passenger seat, co-passenger, co-driver seat. Yes, please.
You were in the car yourself?
Driving, getting out of UMI.
Yes.
Yes. The Coro gate.
You talked to your cousin
On phone.
Susan's car?
Yes, please.
There's never been a physical meeting with Susan?
Never.
So how talking to Susan?
As I said earlier on, early December, my sister tells me I have a very good boss.
That is what I just wanted to know. When did you start talking to Susan?
That's what I'm coming to, Council. Because when do you start? That's how I started. Is it okay? So we begin talking early December. We became close on phone. Should I?
Who called the other?
Sorry?
The very first time, who called the other?
Susan called me. When my sister said I have a very good boss, that if you were not married, you should have married her. Okay? Okay? So I tell her, you know, I'm married, I can, but you can be friends. Scovia gives me Susan's phone, Susan's phone number. Susan already had my number. I didn't call that day. A week passed. I didn't call still. Susan calls. I get a phone call. And her words were, my name is Susan. I know you're very proud. And my sister told me so. I mean, your sister told me that you're very proud, but for me, I've called you. So I began apologizing for not calling her. So that's how we began talking. First of all, Susan, people didn't know Susan. Susan was this character that will get you off guard. Will talk and he will get you off guard, and you have stubborn. My lord, can I? My lord. Okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay.
Whom were you with? I was in the Where?
I was in the car with the Enoch, the one I had met at Ginger Road. Enoch only. Yeah, we later learned that he's a police officer. I found him at the police station at Ginger Road.
So it was you and Enoch?
Yes.
And who else?
No one else.
You say that when patrol vehicles came, 2 patrol vehicles, right?
One after the other.
One after the other. The Susan's car was searched.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
You say that.
Please go about what I said.
Open.
No.
Open.
No.
They touched the car. They peeped inside and saw the clothes of lady. They touched the car, they said, this car has been off for some time. Meaning it was old.
I don't know if I can say what I can. When they arrived where Susan's car was parked,
Must have been here for some time. The bonnet, the front part. They didn't. They peeped. Yes, please.
You were talking about Musa Juma. Juma or Musa?
I say later said Juma.
I just corrected to Juma.
During that time, okay, you said that you had voices saying, don't beat me, I'm not going to scream. What language were those people speaking?
We were talking on phone using English language. They were speaking English. Then later, there was a mixture. The first voice was English. Later, the Temunkuba, the Uganda came in. However, I had 2 distinct voices of male. Then Susan's voice, of course. It is Susan who screamed, "Don't beat me." Do you want to scream? And she responds in Uganda, "Temunkuba, don't beat me." And she was trembling, scared. To detect a tone in someone's voice. As a teacher, I've taught for several years. I can tell the tone of someone who's scared, or I note from the tone. She was trembling.